Thank you for joining us today in our continuing Black History Lecture Series. I'm Jill Upson, Executive Director of the Herbert Henderson Office of Minority Affairs. Today we will be presenting Thaddaus Breckenridge II. Thaddaus Breckenridge is an upcoming spring graduate political science student, attending his 5th year at Davis and Elkins College. He is the Vice President of College Student Assembly and Volunteer Debate Coach and Judge for high school camp and college students. He is also the co-founder of the Black Student Union. Thaddaus is a published author of poems in the Aurora Campus magazine and for the Namias Cipher Report in an effort to spread Black empowerment through art for all to enjoy. Since middle school, Breckenridge has understood the importance of tangible resources for both the Black community and his peers. With experience at the local, state, and national levels, assisting organizations with anti-racism strategies, ladies and gentlemen, the Herbert Henderson Office of Minority Affairs is proud to present Thaddaus Breckenridge II on Black history and economic development.
Good evening, family. I'm Thaddaus Breckenridge, member of Herbert Henderson Office of Minority Affairs, and I'm very, very pleased tonight to join with you as we talk about the topic of bringing back Black Wall Street. It's very important to first talk about the history and the foundation to first understand that there was not just the one Black Wall Street that we all know in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1921, but there was more than that when we talk about Black in New Mexico. We talk about Rentisville, Oklahoma, and especially Tulsa, Oklahoma, along with the originally Black founded cities of Los Angeles and Chicago both, were fundamental hot springs and very good economic beds for Black people to find their prosperity, moving out of the Jim Crow era and seeking to find new leadership in the works that we see by Dr. Martin Luther King, Dr. John Henrik Clark, Sherazade Ali, Dr. Francis Quarles Welsing, and many others. It is very important that with that history, that we really feel the emotional bond to propel us in a motivating way, in a motivating factor. Meaning that we not only feel the accountability, but we understand fundamentally the structure that kept the Black Wall Streets historically so strong. It wasn't just this manifestation that came overnight to circulate the Black dollar within the community as many times possible. It was a code that was at first stated verbal and then moved to nonverbal, not just a living love for Black people to move from where they were from. There was a Kansas Frontier at one time that took an ad out in the paper to offer that if everybody would pitch in $5, that they would be able to build a community together. And that's exactly what they did. Understanding the traumatic things in history, I think that only brings us to not only know that we understand the problem, but to seek a better solution and stop seeking other symbolic answers on our way there. You see, we have to understand that not only was it a verbal code that kept those people comfortable, but it was also an actual transparent power in place because the dollars were circulated there. There was an economic foundation that would count others accountable from how it was spent towards each other to keep it in the community and others outside of the community and the strength that it meant with that. When we talk about the strength and the power and the wealth and the influence that they had and how we can seek to have that same power, wealth, influence right now in the current status quo, it is a nice reminder that they did not need the acceptance of others to do what they did. They just decided to get up together and move and transition into the new frontier, to understand the responsibilities and generational wealth, to understand that I have to be the one to build this. There was none before me, and the time is now. The time is now to build art. The time is now to intellectually be inclined. The time is now to have the financial backing of what all that means as a foundation of economic prosperity This is nothing more than a phenomena that we have seen before, that our leaders have instructed us was an issue before. Like Dr. Martin Luther King so swiftly and promptly said, what good is it for a black man to sit at a lunch counter when he doesn't even have enough money to order the sandwich? So what do we do now? We demand. We do not look for commissions to study. We have Black History Month for that. We need to right the wrongs that have systematically been engaged upon us, because that was not accidental. So anything that comes back to Black people should be systematically engaged, therefore not be accidental. It can be done in many ways when we look at municipal bonds, when we look at 0% tax credits, when we see that local governments will bend over for an Amazon or a Walmart to reconstruct intersections in different regional and original plans where Black people live, using Black tax dollars to do that. I famously used my platform to engage with the 20% contracts to Black businesses and sole Black proprietorships, to not only engage them in contracts to just work and learn and be there, but to actually, with these larger corporations, expect larger lines of credit and downturn in the year's revenue, to expect that, to know that, to fundamentally be valued, to have that choice to move in that way, to have that financial freedom, to have that empowerment. Because once that freedom is engaged, then everything else is the responsibility of us to keep that at that level and move forward. Generational wealth may have not been before you, but generational wealth can start now with you. It can start by educating yourself. It can start by physically, mentally, and emotionally strengthening yourself. And it can also be done financially. That is the most important, because without the economic prosperity to demand those certain things from other sectors, we must understand that, like Black Wall Street, it is not only what built a beauty of symbolism, but a way of life. It kept the cycle going. And there is no different state than West Virginia when we deal with this problem. 3.6% only means we have to work harder, the code must be stronger, and the responsibilities of others surrounding us must be that more apparent. Thank you.
Thank you, Thaddaus Breckenridge, for imparting your knowledge of history and hope for the future. Thank you for watching, and please look for our next program on Sylvia Rideout Bishop, the first licensed Black female horse trainer in the United States. She also happens to be from Charlestown, West Virginia. You will not want to miss it. We look forward to seeing you again.